New item alert. I repeat, a new item alert. We were just revealed a brand new item is coming to doors in the next update. One which has a lot of potential for both cosmetic and functional use. Alright, let's backtrack a little. 2 days ago, we were informed that a brand new currency was going to be implemented into doors in the next update. And besides a pixelated version of its icon, we weren't really sure what it was. That is, until today, where the developers have finally revealed to us what exactly this new currency is. Dear viewers, take a look at Stardust, the brand new item coming to doors in the next update. We have got a lot to talk about currency, including how it's obtained, what its potential use could be, as well as its lore implications. So, with all of that being said, let's begin. Alright, so what even is Stardust? This is a yellow and pink colored powder that is themed around curious light, evident by how the architect's symbol is located on the currency's icon, as well as how its color scheme reflects the appearance of the color scheme present on all of the Starlight items, such as the Vial of Starlight, Bottle of Starlight, and Barrel of Starlight, which are known to be associated with curious light. Now, unlike the Starlight items, Stardust cannot be consumed, but instead, as I have said, it's going to be a new currency similar to that of knobs. According to the developers, Stardust aims to eliminate two problems currently existing within the game, meaning it will likely have two main functionalities. And although we weren't given direct confirmation as to what these may be, I have a strong suspicion that I figured it out based on a little digging I have done into this currency. Let's start with the most obvious use for Stardust, and that is to be used in transactions. Based on yesterday's teaser, we know that cosmetics such as item skins are going to come to the game and will likely be purchasable in the shop through this pixelated backpack icon. It is largely believed that these item skins will be purchasable with knobs. However, I also feel that rarer and more sought-after cosmetics could be purchased with Stardust. Based on one of the very first leaks we received of this new currency, in which it was given the placeholder name of Kroner from Pressure, we know Stardust will be rather rare and expensive. So, due to its scarce nature, I'd assume the items that could be purchased with it would be quite luxurious or something like that. Another theory I had, although this one is kind of less likely, is that it may be used to purchase extremely powerful items in the pre-run shop, such as a skeleton key or crucifix, but that may seem a little unfair, so I doubt that feature would come to the game. Still, given the status of this item, it is definitely possible. Moving on, the second purpose this item could fulfill is more speculative and ties into the lore aspect of it. As I had said, this item seems to be heavily correlated with Curious Light, an entity primarily found in Subfloors. Now, Subfloors are infamously tricky to enter, as they require extensive steps to be completed before they can even be accessed. This trend also seems to remain present with the upcoming Garden Subfloor, as players will have to make it to the last 10 rooms of the hotel in order to access it. This makes me believe that a new method in this update will reduce the time it takes to enter Subfloors, by allowing players to create elevators to them in the lobby, for a price of Stardust, of course. This just makes sense, as not only does it give Stardust another purpose which solves the problem of inconvenient subfloor access, but it is also reasonable from a lore perspective as the item is associated with Curious Light, a being known to reside only in subfloors. If I had to guess, we would need to pay a certain amount of Stardust in order to create a lobby elevator to the rooms or garden. However, the normal, longer way of accessing the subfloors would still be present for those who don't have enough Stardust to create the elevators. Now, rare cosmetics and convenient subfloor elevators are great and all, but how exactly does one obtain Stardust? Of course, without paying the expensive Robux prices. Well, fortunately, the teaser revealing this new currency actually gave us a pretty clear answer to the question. As you can see in the teaser, Stardust can be found in the backdoor loot containers, which makes sense given how both the backdoor and this item are associated with Curious Light, and given how the backdoor can already be immediately accessed from the lobby, it could be a good place for players to farm the currency. If I had to guess, I assume it would kinda work like gold, where picking it up would add it to a counter at the top of your screen rather than giving it to you as a physical item like a flashlight or crucifix. I also assume finding this stuff naturally would be quite rare, given how expensive it is. So, at most, players would only find a little bit per backdoor playthrough. However, I do think there could be a more concrete and reliable way of obtaining Stardust, but strap in as it is more on the speculative side. One theory I've seen floating around is that, in addition to Stardust being rarely found in the back door and maybe even the other subfloors, it could also be obtained by completing a subfloor itself. As you know, completing any type of floor rewards a bonus amount of knobs on top of the ones you already collected from playing the game normally. So what if Stardust functioned the same way? However, given its close ties to Curious Light, it could only be obtained by completing subfloors. This would give players a large incentive to actually replay the subfloors, as unlike main floors, there isn't really a whole reason for players to do so, as the knobs they reward are minuscule when compared to knobs rewarded from main floors. But the ability to gather Stardust could fix this issue. In fact, looking at it now, this could be a problem the currency fixes that the developers were talking about in a previous message, although that might be a coincidence. Still, I do think it's likely this currency could be obtained from completing subfloors, and on top of being rarely found inside of them. Now, the last thing I want to say are who the winners of the competition were. If you recall, when the first teaser of this new currency was released, a small competition was held, where whoever guessed the name of the currency first received 1,000 of it when the update released. Naturally, given how expensive this thing is, this is quite a substantial amount, equivalent to like over 1,000 Robux, I'm pretty sure. In the end, 2 winners were chosen due to how they seemingly both guessed Stardust first on 2 different platforms. The winners go by the names of Dusk Nova and Ryanaz, or Ryanaz, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. And as the competition states, when the update releases, they will both receive 1,000 Stardust. Now, if the currency is believed to be used to create subfloor elevators and purchase rare cosmetics, then it means both of these people will be able to easily purchase every single cosmetic that can be bought with Stardust and travel to subfloors conveniently a lot of the time, given the sheer amount of the item they have, so congratulations to both of them. Anyways, to summarize, a new currency is coming to doors, and it has been revealed to be Stardust. Besides having lore implications with being connected to Curious Light, this resource is much rarer and more expensive than knobs, and it is believed to have 2 main uses, with one being to purchase more sought-after items in the new cosmetic shop, and the other is to create convenient subfloor elevators in the lobby. Now, as for how to obtain this new item, the new teaser implies it can rarely be found in the back door, or maybe even all the subfloors given how they all are associated with Curious Light. And I suspect it would automatically be rewarded to those who complete subfloors. Lastly, the 2 winners of the 1,000 Stardust have been chosen, so congrats to them. So, with all of that being said, let me know in the comments what you think of this new item coming to doors, as well as what you think it can be used for. Because although I have a strong suspicion it will be used for subfloor elevators and the cosmetic shop, it could have another use. And thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.